Hey there, everybody. Welcome to our preview for The Blacklist, Season 9, Episode 15, Andrew Kennison. If this name was out there 3 episodes for this episode, no one would care. But because we've actually seen him, we know how he's connected to various storylines. All of a sudden, this becomes a real humdinger.
I think this episode... Okay, listen, I just have high expectations for this episode. I think this episode is going to be really good. He's connected to everybody, and we don't really know all the ways it's connected yet. I think that this episode has potential to be really good as far as like all the stuff that a lot of us love, which is just the theories and the threads that all just connect it all together.
Well, we're going to have fun trying to talk about connecting some of these threads and a couple of things we've seen in the photos that are out there for this episode. But before we go further, hit that subscribe button so you guys don't miss this hopefully much anticipated review of Andrew Kennison that will be online after it airs, and also our coverage of This Is Us. And coming up very, very soon, Better Call Saul Season 6 premiere, one of our favorite shows. We are ready to get into this.
Also follow us over on Instagram, Matt and Jess TV.
Okay, so if we're just going to kick it off, like this is the generic thing that is said from NBC Synopsis, is that tensions are rising when Cooper's search for his blackmailer overlaps with the task force's latest blacklist case, which is, of course, Andrew Kennison.
Yeah, so we know that he is connected to the tracker. Yes. We don't know absolutely everything. We know just a little bit about his connection to this tracker.
I think what's going to be kind of so interesting in all of this is that we know that Andrew Kennison himself, unless Andrew Kennison is secretly like an alter ego for Neville Townsend or some other character from the past or whatever, like he himself has no real reason to have gone after Liz or gone after Raymond Reddington. I think that's why we're getting this episode sort of now, is that it feels sort of like he is a pawn in a larger plot, and a larger plot that seemingly could involve either taking down Reddington or Liz, but then also at the same time doing something to harm the task force.
Yeah, it's really interesting because we've only seen him for like a couple of seconds.
Yeah.
And he was very much of the, who are you? What's going on? I don't understand. I'm just going about my daily, routine here. What's happening? And if we're to believe him that he really doesn't know what's going on, then it's a pretty weird coincidence that he's connected to all this stuff. So should we really believe him or not? We know that the blacklist isn't always necessarily about a criminal. It can just be about something that Reddington needs done.
It could be really complicated how all of this works out, because my sort of theory on this right now is that it's possible that Andrew knows a little bit more than he's letting on. I also think that it's very well possible that, we know that the blackmailer wanted Kennison moved somewhere else, basically, and he wanted the task force to just put him into hiding. And sort of what I'm wondering with this is, did somehow whoever the person responsible for all of this is, I'm going to call them Person X. Let's say Person X sort of knew that maybe Reddington was getting a little bit closer to the truth on the tracker, and that eventually that would bring them to Kennison, and maybe they were afraid that Kennison was going to say too much, and they thought they could just sort of hide him somewhere where Reddington would never be able to find him.
I just really hope that this episode tells us what the connection is, that, he has, his hands in this tracker and sort of the development of it. Does he really then actually know anything about it being placed in Liz, or is it just sort of a happy coincidence? Are there any coincidences? Maybe sometimes in life, but that feels like a really big one. Like, how is that then connected to the blackmailer? And that's what I want answers on. And that feels like something they could give us an answer on. That doesn't feel like a mystery that has to happen all season. There's lots of branches of other mysteries.
Yeah. I want some answers on some of this, because even if we find out, who is responsible, even if we learn who Person X is in this episode.
Person X could be Andrew for all we know.
And then you guys still have to find a way to stop Person X. Like, you still need to figure out sort of the next step of this. Like, learning this identity is not the end of the story. Like, that to me is what makes it so interesting. And also, why the blackmailer, like, why Person X would even bother. Like, let's say that they are the same exact person who, made sure Van Dyke knew where Liz was. Like, why go through all this trouble a couple of years after the fact? Like, what does the Blacklist being together really mean when it comes to hurting you? Did you just not go after Cooper for so long because the team wasn't together anymore and now you're threatened all of a sudden?
Yeah, that's why it's tough to know really what the connection could be. Like, if Liz's death was still really recent and maybe that tracker was still kind of pinging off somewhere, sure, okay, but it's not. It's 2 years later. I mean, this is not really it feels like the tracker part of it is just not as important for the blackmailing part of it. I don't know how they're connected. It feels like it's a coincidence.
I would be fine if it's a coincidence. Like, I don't think that even necessarily has to be some big crazy thing. I want there to be information. Like, is that too much to add? Man, I feel like we're starting to become Liz, just like shouting at Reddington for answers after all this time. But okay, here's some other exciting news about this episode.
Yep.
Panna Baker is still around, everybody. She is in the photos. We see her. I am taking a massive L on this because of this past video. I was like going on about how they're never going to be able to use her anymore and how she's not like connected to the FBI. And it's like, oh, well, there she is again.
Yeah, she's back. And, I'm really hoping that they're going to find a way to have her working with Cooper on this blackmail thing. And I know there was whatever tensions were going on, but maybe she feels like she owes him a little bit. I mean, come on. Can't they work it out?
Maybe.
These two crazy kids.
Maybe she's around because she starts hearing about what they're doing. And she's like, I got to put a stop to this here thing because I know that I'm the one who hired the blackmail. Like, maybe.
Yeah, maybe she needs to be around to figure out what exactly is going on to try to put a stop to it. It's possible your theory could still be in play. My theory is starting to go out the window. We haven't seen Marvin in a hot minute.
Well, maybe Marvin is just running away because he's worried that he's about to be found out for some of this stuff and he wants to be in the wind before Reddington kills him.
Yeah, it's possible.
I'm still a little bit down on the Panna Baker theory from where I was previously, just because, like, Panna Baker would have had to put on quite a performance in this past episode, and I don't know fully still what her motivation would be with all of this stuff. I mean, maybe they will explain some of it. Maybe, like you said, the connection is just a coincidence and she's responsible for the Cooper part and not the Reddington part, or vice versa.
I said it before, I'll say it again. I just truly don't know how they're going to connect it. And that's one of the reasons why this is one of the episodes that I am absolutely the most excited about, which, I may fall on my face for this because sometimes they don't deliver, but I just really want to know what the connection is. And since this is named Andrew Kennison, there should be some kind of answers in here.
Now we move on to something that I'm stupidly excited for that may not be anything at all.
Robots?
Okay, as far as I know, there are no robots. If there are, I might be excited about it. Probably not. I'm moving on past the robots, everybody. And now my irrational excitement is going to be towards Aram and Ouija, or what I am about to call them, Aricha?
Oh my god.
Do we call them Wara? Like, okay, let us know in the comments what the good ship name is. Okay, there's a photo of the two of them talking in at the post office in the FBI, and there may not be anything here at all. And for a while, I was totally out on Aram love interest because I felt like they'd been done to death. It's been a while. Aram kind of has this weird thing for, like, really dangerous women, so I'm kind of into this.
Yeah, he is very interested in, really badass women. So it was a little bit surprising when they kind of showed a little bit of the two of them talking where there was maybe something there. I'm all right with an Aram love interest, but I would like to just see him get a story that's not just a love interest, because it feels like whenever they don't know what to do with him, they just give him a love interest, because he's had more love interest on the show than anybody.
Who knew? Rama's just such a hit with the ladies. Like, I don't know
He's
what.
a playboy. What are you gonna do?
I don't know. I mean, if I don't know if Weechi's gonna be able to resist his charms. I don't know exactly what sort of if we're even gonna see any charms in this particular episode. The only thing that would really intrigue me about this more so than anything else is I want to know Reddington's reaction to all of this. Like, what if Weecha has to take off work for a night to go out on a date, and she has to tell Reddington, she's like, "You're dating who?"
Yeah, I mean, this is a very different type of relationship for him because, everything with Samar, they're working together and they're both on the side of good sort
Yeah.
of thing. And dating Ouija, this is you're dating into Reddington's camp here. Like, you know what she does and you're an FBI agent. So how does that play out?
I don't know if any of this is going to happen. I just may be reading too much into a photo because I like going down these crazy rabbit holes. But,
People are reading into it.
all right. Well, if you are a part of the Aricha army, stand
Oh,
with
no.
me. No, okay. All right. I'm done. All right. Well, I'm done for now. We'll see what happens on Friday's episode. But, of course, we will be here talking it through. Maybe we'll get some connections. Hit that subscribe button so you guys don't miss that. Also, follow us on Instagram at InjustTV, and we will see you here next time.